Each war has had its own subjects. Before each war has propaganda. If you were under the English language, I tell you this. We are what we are. Nothing will tell you anything else unless you let it. For this, I give this speech. The kingdom under the English language is under a kingdom that you will never obtain, you can never buy, and you can never see unless you understand what propaganda is. This propaganda has existed by the 15th century. Via this century, I say this. Every Ottoman Empire and every Mongol Empire, you are under the Oriental, of which you have displaced. Every other empire we have fought against, and we shall barrack, for we have made barracks. We are of a conservative party, not of political, but of civilian speech. Each one understands its own knowledge. Now, I am a peacekeeper of many countries, and I have been through many wars and many avocations through wars, and I say this. You give trade, yet you post war. This is to our adversaries. To the ones who are our advocates, we say gladness. Remember, this has no religious content whatsoever. We understand ourselves because we who are the advocates, we are of king and country. We are not of empire and lands. To the empire of lands who may listen to this broadcast, I tell you this. Why did you change? Why did you try to hurt us? And I speak back for the king and country of the advocates and say, we see you, we hear you, and we know you. Our avocation of our lands do not applicate us for your authentication. We are what you call peaceful civilians. Propagate us to any war, and we shall stand as we always will, because we are of royal and of subjects. We are not of emperors and empires. We relinquish any fact between the two, because an empire is an empire and a kingdom is a kingdom. Thus I say, if the leaders in the empire cannot diplomatic themselves to the kingdom, who is always diplomatic themselves, why should we listen to you? I ask you this. I do not talk about war or weapons, but I talk about trade. If you can't deliver what you've promised, why should I deliver back my promise. Yourselves have only given your people revenge. If you say revenge in your political diplomacy of communism, the kingdom is the king of the communism. We established ourselves of communism, but we understand what it truly means. We are not here to teach your empire or to give you anything, but you should have known by the visits of all the kingdom. I say this. Why do your people revenge? Do you cause this amongst your people, or do you use them for your puppets? The kingdom has a saying for this, and it goes exactly the way I say it. You shall not puppet my people. You shall not propaganda my people, but you shall respect them. If you cause this in military way, we will say nothing, because we are a people of initiative. We have stimulation that is outspoken and outright more than you can sell, because we'll sell it 1,000 times more. The kingdom does not appropriate itself to the empire. It's as simple as this. The empire thinks it can take whatever it wants, rule whatever they think they can, and then try to transfer this to the kingdom. The kingdom says no. You do not do this. If you do, you become a corrupt empire. This is the voice from the kingdom. I am not here to stipulate amongst your empire. For my kingdom has been through all your countries and all your empires. You know who you are. The voice says this. The kingdom is for kings and their countries. You are an emperor of your empires. You have chosen this since the late early centuries. I am not here to racist myself amongst you, but I give you this. You have corrupted the kingdom because we gave you advocacy. Because you have not done this to me myself, I take this advocacy away. I take it away because the people you have stimulated and have an effect for, be it mainly religious or be it non-religious, remembering I am a non-religious kingdom. I ask this. Remember, I don't give myself to ask many questions or give many speeches, but I ask you this. Why did you cast revenge on the kingdom? Your empire has obviously been deterred of its advocacy. You obviously have no advocates anymore. And I am not here to stimulate your speech of your empire, but I am here to say this. The kingdom will not tolerate any more of your ground level or the outer atmosphere level. We are of people who live our lives gratefully. We are the people who live our lives to be happy. We do not live our lives every day to say to because what your empire has said, that they must be your soldiers. That's fine. I am not here to relinquish that. I am here to say, well, they are your soldiers. They are not of the kingdoms. So, I am here to say this. The simple fact is, I warned your empire of many things many years ago. But I relinquished those future developments. I shall only use my perception of future for the kingdom. For the empire has done nothing but vandalize and hurt me. For this, each king and country of every land in the kingdom relinquished itself from prosperity of the empire. Doing such things, I feel more grateful in my own persuasion of my countries. I ask you this. I have given 15 seconds of silence. This is all I will ever give. Not due to the wars that have proceeded between the kingdom and empire, but for the revenge you still seek. The kingdom does not seek revenge, and we never shall. We are diplomatic, and we shall stay diplomatic. If you enter our kingdom, we shall become undiplomatic. We have never invaded the empire, and we shall never do so. But I tell you this, any more, and as you say in the empire, there will be war. My life has been but a peacekeeper and a liaison with the kingdom, and of the kingdom's persuasion of its advocacy to the head of the kingdom. I need not say which crown I wear or which crown I avert myself, but this is simple. If you cannot handle our ways, then do not do business with the kingdom. You have proven through the people who revenge on you, you have only one outtake: vandalism. This vandalism I have appropriated to be nothing but an exertion of power through the leaders of the empire. Thus, I will say this: the kingdom has not appropriated itself or arrested or hurt any people you have vouched for. Though, after today, most regrettable feelings have caused me to say that we shall be looking everywhere. The kingdom shall be voicing itself against the empire. We shall be watching our eyes against the empire, because we are not owned by the empire. We are the kingdom, and we shall stay the kingdom forevermore. If you use this in military content, all you shall receive is obviously a displacement in your own country. Remembering the kingdom came peacefully to all your countries. And we met and we ate and we drank, and obviously the leaders of the past have not entered the current leaders of the empire. For this I say, you are not the brothers or sisters to the kingdom. You are your own selves. You have your own beginnings and your own end. And I vouch this: the kingdom people shall say neither more until the leaders of the empire show they do not have revenge in any sort of way, that those who advocate themselves for the empire shall be not known as brothers and sisters to the kingdom. This is a vouching of a king more greater than you will ever think. I am non-religious and I do not seek any religious content whatsoever. I give you this in the last saying. I do not use this on this day for the last post. The empire accepts itself to war to the kingdom. We shall retaliate. We shall protect our king and country of each of our lands, for thus we have done this before the empire began and after. My intuition says this: why? Why have you developed your people to be such vandals of vanquishment? For when we were there, we saw great human content, great human laughter, and great human behaviour. I do not apologise on this broadcast, or do not I give any sorry. All I say is, you will hear on what I have said, and you will make your own decision. Thank you, and goodbye.